I feel like in the world of books, people have a lot of differing opinions. Would you disagree? I think as the reading community grows and more people get into books and more books are written and published to varying degrees of greatness and different styles of writing, there are just so many different things that people agree or disagree on. And I honestly think it's really interesting to hear everybody's different opinions. What I also find interesting is hearing all people's different bookish hot takes. So I figured it would be fun today to find some bookish hot takes, go through them, and tell you my opinions on them. So I don't really have much else to say. Let's just get straight into these hot takes. All right, our first bookish hot take is not every book needs a romance subplot. Some stories are stronger without forced love interests. Now, I feel like this one is interesting because obviously not every book has romance in it, but a lot of them do have some varying degrees of romance. And I can't lie, I love when books have romance. I think it does help move the plot along. I love seeing it, except for when it's a love triangle. I'm not as big on that, but I do love seeing two characters kind of fall in love, work together, form a team. But I don't think all books have to have a romance subplot. I think sometimes it's great to see your main character just be like a badass doing things on her own, or if it's a guy doing things on his own. Like, I do think it's awesome just to see people be independent. So I could agree with this subplot. However, being the hopeless romantic I am, I do always look forward to those romance subplots. Number 2, annotating books doesn't make you a better reader, and it's okay if you hate writing in your books. 100% I agree. I feel that it has become this thing where people act like annotating is kind of something you need to do. I feel like it's kind of become like a popular thing to do, but not just to the point of like annotating like you would have in high school, but like if you look on Pinterest or TikTok or Instagram, you see these people out here like making art of their books. They are not just underlining and highlighting, they are like drawing beautiful pictures and hearts and sparks and everything around these quotes. And I think it's beautiful, but it's not for everyone. And it's certainly not for me. Anytime I've tried to annotate, not only do I feel like it just makes the book harder to read next time and a bit more messy, but also I'm not an artist and I don't think that it is that great for me. I don't think it helps me at all, and I absolutely don't think it makes you smarter. I think annotating is completely just for fun, so I do agree with that one. Number 3, audiobooks are reading. Yes, I agree. I feel like a lot of people say like you are still experiencing the book by listening to it, but you aren't reading it, but I could not disagree more. If you listen to an audiobook, you're gonna go check it off in Goodreads and say that you read it. You're gonna tell people, yeah, I read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Yeah, I read Practice Makes Perfect. Like, of course it's reading. And I actually had this conversation with my boyfriend because we have slightly varying opinions on this, but I think, yes, I think it's reading 100%. I don't think it matters if you're not physically looking at the words on a piece of paper or a screen. It still counts. The next one, 500 plus page books often don't need to be that long. Edit it down. This one, I think it really depends on the book. I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't agree either because sometimes I find that 500 plus page books are necessary. If we're talking about, I'm gonna get some hate for this one, but ACOTAR. A Court of Wings and Ruin is so long. A Court of Mist and Fury is so long. A Court of Silver Flames is so long. Do I think those books could have been edited down? Yes, but I also think they're okay how they are. And I know like Kristen Hanna books, hers are usually over 500 pages. From the Kristen Hanna that I have experienced, or that I've heard from other people, it seems necessary that they're as long as they are. She does a lot of world building and plot building and introducing you to characters, and sometimes it just is necessary to have those long books. So I don't think I really agree with this one. However, if you are just using a lot of filler, maybe then you should consider editing it down. Number 6, you don't have to finish a series just because you started it. Yeah, I am such a big fan of this one because I am somebody who used to feel that, oh, I started this series so I must finish it, even if I don't like it at all. I think I did that with ACOTAR. Again, gonna get hate for this, but I enjoyed the first book in ACOTAR and then really disliked the second book, Mist and Fury, and I still made it through the whole series. And I still feel like when Sarah J Maas puts out the next books, I will continue to read it, even though I dislike it. And like, there is no good reason for that. Another good example for me is V.E. Schwab's series. I've talked about it on here before, I'm blanking on the name, but no, like I strongly disliked that trilogy, but I continued through the entire thing. And it was like pulling teeth, honestly. Like, I don't know why I did it. So yeah, I think if you're not enjoying a series, put it down, get rid of it. Number 7 is dual POV romances often kill the tension. No? No. I think dual POV romances or dual POV in any book is so important, but especially in a romance, I love getting to see both character sides and what each of them are thinking, how each of them are feeling. I think it adds so much to the story, and I absolutely don't think it kills the tension. I think if you are swapping POVs at the wrong moment, maybe then you could argue that it's killing the tension, but no, like I think it's so important. Anytime a romance is dual POV, I'm obsessed. I just read Sarah Adams' new book, In Your Dreams. It is dual POV, and I loved that. I thought it was absolutely fantastic that it was, because I think it's so interesting and important to hear how both characters are feeling, because otherwise it's just a one-sided romance, and sure, it's still great, but you're not getting the most out of it. So completely disagree with this one. Number 8, we need to bring back standalones. Not everything needs to be a trilogy or a series. Honestly, yeah, I think trilogies are awesome. I'm a fan of a trilogy. I'm not as big of a fan of like full series, but trilogies I do love. However, sometimes I just want to be a standalone reader. I like standalones. If I were to choose, that's my favorite form of book reading, whatever you want to call it. Like, I like it when I can just read one book and be done. Do I sometimes wish that there was more to it and I wish I could continue on with the characters? Sure. But like, I love a standalone, and I feel like we are forgetting that that's okay to have. Like, authors write a book, it's successful, so then they continue it, and that doesn't always need to happen. So, yeah. Hi. Okay, the next one we have is you can DNF a book and still have an opinion on it. I do agree with this one. I think you can still have an opinion. However, I think going into Goodreads and marking it as read and giving it a rating is maybe not the best idea, because I feel, sorry my cat, I feel like if you didn't finish it, actually let me rephrase. I think it really depends on how far into the book you got, because if you got 25% and you DNF'd it, or less, like you don't really know if it gets better. You don't know much about it. I used to be so against DNFing because of that, because I was like, what if it does get good? But then I learned like you can't just always force yourself through every book, and it is okay to DNF, but I have a problem with people who then go and rate books. But of course it is your life, like go rate it if you want to, but I just think that gives the book an unfair disadvantage, because you're giving it a bad rating then on Goodreads and bringing down its star rating when you don't really know how it ends or how it goes for the rest of the book. So I think you can absolutely have an opinion on it. You can absolutely despise the book, tell people you didn't enjoy it, but like preface it by saying you didn't finish it. You know what I mean? The final one I'm gonna do today is one that I feel I have personal experience with, so it's an important one to me. Not every book club book needs to be important. Let's read something fun. Yeah, I feel that I have been in a lot of book clubs in my life, and many of them have been tried and then failed. We would get maybe 1 or 2 books out and then just never do it again. And I know sometimes we've done fun books. That's usually when it's me and like 1 or 2 other girlfriends. But sometimes I've been in book clubs where we would choose really sophisticated literary reads, maybe ones that we were like, this doesn't sound like the most fun book, but it sounds like one that we should read because it might have important themes in it, or it might teach us something. For me, I'm somebody who reads more for comfort and fun than I am reading for like growth and reading like important things. So I always would just go along with the book, but like, did I care if it was that book or not? Not necessarily. And oftentimes I would learn that it would kind of just make book club boring. Like, you go, you have your discussion, great, awesome. You read the book, you learned something, maybe you didn't. But where's the fun? Like, it's just not as fun. I want to read something that I find entertaining and that I think the story is going to be awesome and enjoyable for everyone, and not just me, and not just this one other person. Like, I want it just to be something for me in a book club where we have fun. I think book clubs can only be sustainable if you are having fun and choosing the right books. So I absolutely, there's an ad on my TV, we're gonna ignore it. I absolutely agree with that. And I think that I just want to shout from the rooftops, like, choose fun books, have fun in book club, and it will last. And I'll leave it with that. So anyway, those were, I think, 10 bookish hot takes that I had for you today. I honestly really love doing that. I love talking about bookish opinions and discussing things like that. So if you enjoyed it, I would love to do it again. Just let me know how you felt. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you want to be friends, all of my links are down below. Feel free to comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Thank you for joining. Bye.